Hey guys, it's Vanessa from Unmasked. There were some really interesting takeaways from today's hearing, so just wanted to give you some quick updates. First, if you love Unmasked, please help me out by hitting the like, subscribe, and notification bell so you'll be notified of all of my upcoming videos. And last but certainly not least, please share this video everywhere. If you haven't seen the other Delphi videos leading up to this one, the Unmasked Delphi playlist is linked in the description below. Okay, so today Richard Allen was in court to discuss bond and the release of the highly anticipated probable cause documents. Richard Allen has been charged with 2 counts of felony murder in connection with the deaths of Libby German and Abby Williams on February 13, 2017. First, let's start with the fact that there's a reason I believe that cameras should always be allowed in the courtroom. It's frustrating to get the information secondhand because it always varies, and today was definitely a prime example of that. Today, I've heard a few conflicting accounts on a few points, which in my opinion is extremely frustrating. I ended up just watching everything I could find to get the most pervasive opinions and most reliable sources from the hearing today. So let's start with Richard Allen's appearance and mood in the courtroom. Witnesses say that you could hear Richard heading into the courtroom with all of his chains and shackles. He was wearing a bulletproof vest and completely surrounded by security who were also all wearing flak jackets. The judge asked for the courtroom to be silent, and it's reported that you could hear a pin drop. Libby and Abby's families were in attendance. The first conflicting information that I heard was whether or not Richard Allen tried to make eye contact with the families of the victims. Some said that he did, and some said he did not. I guess that part could be subjective. Why does it matter? I think it does a little bit. I think it's kind of a good insight into the mind of an attitude of the person who is being charged with these horrific crimes. I always pay attention to that because back in the day when I was an intern for a federal judge, we had a case once where a man had assaulted and murdered an 11-year-old little girl. It was a horrific case. And he came into the courtroom, I'll never forget, smirking at the family and actually singing songs, taunting them. It was so traumatizing to the family, and it stayed with me and haunted me all of these years. If you ever want to look it up, it's Keith Nelson in Missouri. Regardless, I do think those types of things are important. However, every source that I listened to did agree upon the fact that he was completely quiet and didn't say a word. Allen's attorneys argued that he should have a bond set and should be released on his own recognizance pending trial. That hearing is set for February 17th of 2023. If you'll recall, Richard Allen originally had a $20 million bond that was then revoked. So let's dive into the new information on the very controversial and highly anticipated probable cause documents. The defense was arguing that there's nothing, quote, robust in the probable cause documents and that they do want them to be released to the public. Now, of course, they could be just trying to put on a good front for their client, which obviously makes sense. But it does make me speculate that there may not be DNA evidence included in that, and it may be more on the circumstantial side. But again, who knows at this point? As we all know, DNA evidence is pretty solid, so it does make one wonder what exactly they mean by that. I'm still sticking with my theory that Richard Allen may have been there, but may not have actually done the murders, but I guess we'll have to wait and see. The prosecutor presented a letter from Becky Patty about why the family wishes to have the documents remain sealed, and they also presented the online petition that was circulated by Kelsey and that had, I believe it was over 40,000 signatures. It does sound like the judge may release the probable cause documents sometime in the not-so-distant future. However, the prosecutor did ask that if she does release them, that they have redactions of all of the names involved. Here's where it gets really interesting, in my opinion. While discussing the release of the probable cause documents, the prosecutor stated that even though the public argues that it's in their best interest and their right to see these documents, which it is, it's Indiana law, that it's in the investigation's best interest that they remain sealed. This in itself is not that shocking and what many of us have suspected the entire time. I think there's a strong suspicion that some of the information is being deliberately held back in order to protect the integrity of the investigation, and that investigators simply need more time. However, one quote made by the prosecutor was pretty chilling, in my opinion. Of course, this is secondhand. However, it was reported that the prosecutor said that Richard Allen was, quote, not the only actor in this investigation. He also noted that some of the witnesses in the probable cause documents are minors. When Richard Allen's attorney, Bradley Rosie, was questioned about the prosecutor's statement on that, he said that it did catch his attention, but that it was much too soon to speak on that subject. As far as the references to the minors, it makes you wonder if they have friends of Libby and Abby, or if other minors in town have had run-ins or experiences with any of these men. When I say any of these men, I obviously mean Kegan Kline and Richard Allen, and potentially whatever third party there may be. So no probable cause documents released today, but it will be interesting to see if they are released within the next week or so. So what do you guys think about the situation with the documents and with the newest information today? Do you guys think that they are holding back the identity of another person involved in the murders? Please let me know in the comments down below. Okay, so this next part has nothing to do with the hearing, but I wanted to throw this in there for those of you who haven't seen it. There is a screenshot floating around that was sent to me from one of the Delphi Facebook groups of a user named Rick Allen Hill. So creepy. I have no verification at this time that this is actually that same Richard Allen, but if you look at the name and that he was active in the group, that is creepy, especially with the hill at the end. As scary as that is, I guess it shouldn't be that surprising. If you are an avid follower of true crime, you know that many times these guys join these types of groups to keep tabs and to even try sometimes to control the narrative. Just something interesting that was sent to me that I thought I'd share with you, because I know a lot of you aren't in the Facebook groups when you follow these and you're just going off of YouTube or the news, but definitely something that was really creepy. I will keep you updated on any new developments as usual. Thank you so much for listening. Stay safe and see you next video.